Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today, as the world is still reeling from the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic, it's paramount that food and nutrition security stakeholders reflect and move towards practical solutions and measured options which result in sustainable and resilient food systems. And on this topic, we're glad to be joined over the phone by Dr. Habiba Hassan, expert in nutrition to the African Development Bank and independent EU expert in food and health. Good afternoon, Dr. Habiba.
Good afternoon to you.
Dr. Habiba, last week the African Union Development Agency, together with the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy and Sustainable Environment and partners, celebrated virtually the 12th commemoration of the Africa Day for Food and Nutrition Security. Now, how would you please tell us about this event and its significance for the development of the continent?
This event actually is an annual celebration, and last year it was in Egypt. We hosted the event.
Yes.
It serves as a platform for mobilizing political support and technical and financial commitment across the continent to address the current challenges for achievement of food and nutrition security in Africa.
Yes.
The theme for this year is very interesting. It is rediscovering our local African diets for sustainable food systems and improved nutrition. It means it wants Africans, in very simple language, to eat African food.
Yes.
The significance of this, or the nutrition, importance of nutrition, is that food and nutrition are a fundamental requirement for development. If we don't eat, children don't grow, and at school they don't perform, they don't have good educational outcomes. In work they cannot be productive, they have low productivity. So actually food and nutrition link to all the sustainable development goals that we know about.
Yes.
For Africa, the importance is that Africans, surprisingly, it is called the bread or the food basket of the world because it has good land, it has water, it has everything that needs for agriculture, and yet Africans import nearly 70% of what they eat. This is phenomenal. While the African food is very rich and nutritious.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, Egypt has made and continues to make significant advances in the area of food security. Would you tell us more about Egypt's important initiatives and achievements regarding this issue?
Yeah, this is really something that we have waited for many years. Mm-hmm. The importance this time is that the government of Egypt is adopting an integrated, holistic approach to the subject. That is not limited only to make or to produce more food.
Yes.
No, it is what is the water strategy for the country? Do we have enough water? Do we have enough land? You see, the government has made great efforts in increasing the cultivated area for Egypt. You have heard about the new delta.
Yes.
And the what we call is the desert reclamation of desert lands across the narrow narrow valley of the River Nile in Upper Egypt. We have reclaimed thousands and nearly over 1 million of faddans in order to make more food for Egyptians. Mm-hmm. So it is this integrated vision of the task is very important, including food is not only agriculture.
Yes.
We have major mega projects for aquaculture, for fish, for poultry, for meat, and also for cereals, which is Egypt's staple diet. It's the main diet of Egyptians is bread. So when we say that, let us say 50 years ago, we imported over 60% of what we ate in cereals, now we are nearly reaching over 50% producing our own cereals. So this is what Egypt is doing. Slowly and steadily, we are going towards a more secure, food-secure country.
Yes. Now, Dr. Habiba, rediscovering our local African diets for sustainable food systems and nutrition was the main theme of this event. Now, why are our traditional African diets receiving attention now at this point, and how can we learn more about these local diets?
This is not for Egypt, because Egypt, it is for Africa. Let us say more pertinent for sub-Saharan Africa.
Yes.
Egypt's nutrition history started in 1936. We are very old in food and nutrition, and we have a lot to do. We have done a lot, and our food analysis tables in the 1940s did not analyze only what is eaten in the cities, but all food that was eaten by Egyptians, all popular dishes were analyzed. So we know what we eat, and we know about it. But what happened in Africa is there is a dissociation between the excellent, highly nutritious food, traditional food of the old African traditions and eating practices in the rural areas, in the villages, and what is eaten in the cities.
Yes.
The modern consumer is consuming Western-style food and importing that Western-style food and doesn't even know what is being eaten in the villages. So now there is a move for improving food security in Africa, to start eating or to know, as you say, rediscover the what is called the ancestral food systems of the Africans.
Yes. Now, how do you think can we change the terribly unhealthy eating habits of today and start eating healthy, balanced diets?
That is, when you eat, it is a personal decision. You choose what you want to eat.
Yes.
And it is your choice. And we cannot force people to eat what we want them to eat. We can only advise. Mm-hmm. And then the choice is theirs. So, in fact, when we want to improve food habits, we learn about what we call the food environment. What is the environment around them that makes them make this choice? What pulls them to this choice?
Yes.
So this has to do with the cost of the food. It may be too expensive, so they go for a cheap food that is not good. The availability, they eat what is in front of them. If it is not there, they don't eat it. And now, with what we call the modern consumer and the habits and the lifestyle of the modern consumer, he is working long hours. The modern consumer is very mobile. He wants to eat in his car or eat while he's walking. And family meals sitting around the table has been very much disrupted. Mm-hmm. So who is the one feeding now the modern consumer? It is more industry,
yes,
than the mother or the housewife in the home. Mm-hmm. There may be one family meal, but all the rest of the day, the people rely on what is in front of them. Mm-hmm. So what we did now is to improve those eating habits, is we're trying to make the industry an ally and not an enemy. Mm-hmm. And they are really responding, because we have a way of measuring the impact of the food industry on the health and nutrition of the people.
Yes.
And we are advising them to put less sugar, less salt, less fat, less processed food. So making the food available more healthy will not stop the snacking business. Everybody eats small things all the day, but we will make the food that is available to those people more healthy.
Right.
This is one way of doing it. But I would like to say something, that an intervention that I made during the meeting, which was to inform the meeting when they were discussing the knowledge about traditional food, that Egypt has produced only last month a beautiful first volume of a complete encyclopedia of traditional foods of Egypt. This is a research project of the Academy of Scientific Research and Technology, and the first volume was on bread and bakeries. It is a fantastic volume, and when I contributed and announced that we have just produced it, the African Commission Direction of Nutrition said, can you please send us a copy of this encyclopedia? Yeah. So we are a little ahead of what is happening now.
Great. Dr. Habiba, you mentioned that Africa has great natural resources when it comes to food. Now, still Africa is importing most of its food products. When can Africa start producing its own food and nutrition products without depending on importing food from abroad? What are the main challenges facing the African continent to reach this end?
The challenges are when you have food, food is in the village. And about nearly 70% of Africans, it is estimated that by 2030, 70% of Africans are living in big cities. Mm-hmm. So the good, healthy food of the village has to reach the shelf of the supermarket.
Yes.
Or the shops in the city. This is called a food supply system. Now, we need that the small farmer who is producing the traditional food in Africa be able to integrate and to join the food supply system of the city. Otherwise, the food does not reach. And if somebody wants traditional food, he goes out of the city to the village to buy it. So what is happening now is that a lot is being done to help the small farmer and the traditional food reach the city. Yes. Some countries, especially South Africa, has done a great deal in this respect.
Yes.
And it has the highest number, if you count how many traditional foods are in supermarkets in South Africa, it is the longest list in all the African countries. Mm-hmm. So there is a special effort to be done, and now Africa and the African Union Commission and Directorate of Agriculture are mobilized to help African farmers do that.
Yes, we're looking forward to this, of course. Thank you very much, Dr. Habiba Hassan Wasif, expert in nutrition to the African Development Bank. Many thanks for your insight.